The overall objective of this PD would be to educate education professionals about the benefits of cluster grouping, with particular emphasis on the benefits of gifted and talented students.
If presented in its entirety, this PD would be approximately 2 hours in length. Key components would include overview of the challenges faced by educators to meet the needs of their gifted students, and stress the importance of the need to develop viable resources and accommodations. The social, emotional, idiosyncratic nature of the gifted students is one pertinent area. Recognition and acknowledgement of temperament are key to individual growth. An educator with understanding of this will be effective in guiding their students to take risks and reach their highest potential.
Another key component to address is underachievement and its effects on the gifted student. Without adequate planning, choice options, or exploration opportunities, gifted students are often left to their own devices without any direction. This can lead to stagnant patterns where they are often waiting for others to catch up or are asked to be peer tutors. Worse yet, they are given extra work to keep them occupied. Lack of intrinsic motivation results in unmotivated and underperforming students.
These are the components that will be used to make the argument for cluster grouping. As educators, the ultimate goal is to be in a growth mindset and to provide an environment where students are given the space to express themselves, make mistakes, and develop solutions. With gifted students, the goal is to demonstrate to educators how they can be facilitators and mentors to these students, all the while being available for support and scaffolding when needed.
During PDs, it is always great to have some type of icebreaker or built-in stimulating break activities or video to keep the audience engaged. Our presentation is designed to be one of those types of video activities. The slideshow in the discussion board post serves as evidence of the information that would be shared during the PD. Thank you for your attention and please enjoy.
All right, so welcome to Teacher Talk, a show where teachers talk about the joys and challenges of their profession. Today, we are talking about cluster grouping. Why is the thought of cluster grouping still so intimidating to so many educators?
Good question. Personally, I think it's because we have been conditioned to believe that heterogeneous classrooms are necessary in order to have balance across the board.
Exactly, and I, for one, cannot understand the obsession with this model. I have always been an advocate of cluster grouping, but it's so hard to get other educators to support it.
Why is it so hard? And why are you such an advocate?
It's because anytime you seek to change the status quo, people who are satisfied with it are going to be initially defensive and fear the unknown. Teaching is secular and we recycle the same things over and over. Thinking outside the box takes too much work. And it's because we want things in a nice, neat package with a bow. Not all of us want it this way, but many. And I'm an advocate because honestly, I truly believe that we leave so many children behind with this type of thinking.
Well, if you're referring to the ECE students, they get the help they need. I mean, with all the push in and pull out and resource teachers.
I'm not referring to ECE. I'm thinking about our gifted and our talented students.
Okay.
Think about it. How many enrichment opportunities do your gifted and talented students really receive? Is it one day a week? Is it any days during the week? We talk so much about differentiation in schools, but we rarely truly examine what it looks like in action. Cluster grouping is differentiation in action. Because, I mean, just think about the research benefits of cluster grouping. I mean, you have student achievement increases with cluster grouping. There's high achievement maintained in all classrooms. Gifted students regularly, they interact with their intellectual peers as well as peers of their age. The programming, you don't really have to have additional costs because you're building it into your curriculum. There are fewer students identified as low achievers, and there are more students that are identified as high achievers. Plus, it reduces the range of achievement levels that the teacher has to address.
Okay. So this is a perfect spot to discuss a story of triumph over potential tragedy we recently heard about. It is the story of Jake Simple. He was a young man that has gone from juvenile delinquency to determination. This young man was kicked out of every school he attended and was accused of burning his last school down. You have to ask yourself, now what in the world is going on with this kid? Sounds like a troubled youth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the story goes that after all avenues, Jake is sent to live with the Applewhite family. Now, this is no ordinary family. Everyone in this family has some type of exceptional gift or talent. The Applewhite children have been removed from public school and are now being homeschooled. They are given the opportunity to explore and study whatever they choose. The adults rarely intervene, offering basically complete autonomy, even to the 4-year-old.
Whew. That sounds like a hot mess.
Well,
To educators like us, that would sound like that. However, it works for the Applewhites because everyone is given the autonomy to pursue their passions, something that we don't often offer in a typical classroom setting.
I can't imagine this being accepted in my school. I mean, this would be a total chaos.
And that's why I'm an advocate of cluster grouping. When kids are working to their potential, they are engaged and invested. Now, of course, we would offer more direction and guidance in the classroom, but wouldn't this be an amazing sight to see?
I can see some potential here, especially with proper scaffolding and monitoring. Most students who struggle with perfectionism would definitely benefit from more time to work. They get so anxious about deadlines, not to mention the heightened awareness, anxiety, stress, issues with peer relationships, and concerns with identity and trying to fit in.
Agreed. Actually, reflecting back to other students I've taught, I think of several students. I can think of several students who would have benefited from cluster grouping. Those imaginative kiddos who love to create things, and those intellectual kiddos who crave that stimulating conversation.
Well, this is what the Applewhites are like. So the youngest Destiny is psychomotor, high energy. Cordelia, the dancer of the family, is sensual and very sensitive to noises. The eldest brother, Hal, is somewhat of a recluse, but it seems to suit him and he creates beautiful artwork. ED is the intellectual who craves organization and structure. They are all so very different, and yet they coexist together and even collaborate to help their father put on a community-wide production of The Sound of Music.
Impressive.
Yes, very.
Yes, so The Sound of Music production helped Jake tap into his true potential. Up to that point, he seemed unmotivated and was underachieving. This was due to the dramatic difference between his performance and his true potential. When he comes to stay with the Applewhites and his group with Edie, he begins to realize there is more to him than he ever imagined.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that is?
Well, see, the Applewhites did not buy into this bad boy reputation for one. And they created an environment where he was able to actually think and consider what he wanted his educational experience to be. Now, by shadowing and observing ED, he was able to carve out his own niche and build his own curriculum goals. It was then is when he discovered that he had some natural singing and acting talent that Randolph Applewhite, a well-known stage director, deemed brilliant. Jake had never had someone recognize talent within him, even he had no idea.
Wow.
Here, that's wow. That's wow. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why I am a advocate for cluster grouping. The benefits far outweigh the fear.
I'm beginning to agree. Sure, it might take some initial setup, but think of how much students have the students in an environment like that, how much they can much they can accomplish.
Yes, especially with the teacher who is trained to guide the students like this. Oh, the possibilities.
Well, There you have it, folks. I recommend we take the time to learn about cluster grouping and implement it into our schools. It is a worthwhile ambition that would reap abundant benefits for our students. Thank you. Teacher Talk.